Hi and welcome to In the Front Row, all things reactions, reviews and interviews. My name's Jamie Lee and today I'll be doing a review of The Walking Dead Season 11 Episode 17 titled Lockdown. So this episode opens emotionally and I take it that that's how the rest of the season is going to pan out considering we are at the end. It opens with the OG Rick waking up in the hospital and we have this little montage of all the characters that we have loved on this Walking Dead journey, and we have Judith being the voiceover, and then she talks about the villains that we've met on our journey as well. And it was really nice to get that flashback, of characters that we haven't seen for a long time, like the governor, for example. I thought the governor was a great villain, so it was really nice to see all these characters that are no longer with us on the show, but we still remember them and they were really impactful to this show. And she talks about how these characters have created this family and they are the light in the darkness that is the apocalypse. And then we transition to the present time where we have Maggie and Daryl who are trying to escape Lance Hornsby, shithead, and the Commonwealth troopers, the Dickless Brigade as Negan likes to call them. And then speak of the devil and he shall arrive. Negan rocks up with his wife Annie, brought in by Gabe and Aaron, and they basically say they all want to help out in order to get back to the Commonwealth and to get their families out of the Commonwealth essentially. So Daryl comes up with this great idea to send Negan back to the Commonwealth because of course nobody knows his face there, he's a fresh face. So his plan is to send Negan back there to tell everybody what's going on. Well, not everybody, mainly to tell Carol because Carol's a boss, to tell Carol what is going on outside the walls and sort of to prepare her to get the kids and the families ready to leave. Of course, Lance has radioed back to the Commonwealth to try to tell them that Daryl and the team outside the walls have gone rogue. And that's why they need to send Negan in, so that he can be that sort of spy on the inside and tell them what's going down. So then we see that plan come into action, which is so cool because we see Negan start to take out some of the Commonwealth troopers, and he is doing that wearing his Whisperer's mask. And I just think this is so badass, and I think it's totally cool that we have learnt from our enemies and that we are using like the tactics from our enemies, for the greater good. I think that's really cool. Anyway, so while Whisperer Negan tries to make his escape, Daryl pretty much takes on everybody else. He just starts popping people off and he's just such a badass. Honestly, I think him and Carol could just survive anything in this apocalypse. They're so great. But anyway, he does his part and he helps to ensure that Negan starts on his road trip to the Commonwealth. And a group of the Commonwealth men chase down Negan and we have this epic car chase, like totally Fast and the Furious style. I haven't watched it yet. It's part of my first watch segment that I'm going to watch on the channel for the very first time. But, I get the gist. Cars, racing, got it. Family. And I find it quite funny because, the whole reason why Negan is heading back to the Commonwealth is to tell the families what's going on. So I thought that was kind of funny as well. Anyway, so Negan's driving erratically and Daryl crashes his car into the people who are chasing Negan. And I mean, what a boss, what a badass. He literally just hops out of the car and like blood's dripping from his face and he's just totally fine. Gets me. So good. And that ensures that Negan is finally on his way. Meanwhile, back at the Commonwealth, the community are protesting because they want Pamela's son Sebastian brought to justice because, he was using the non-essential people, I guess you could call it that, within the community and using them as bait for the walkers in order to go get his drug money and stuff. So, they label the Miltons as murderers. But Pamela doesn't actually know where her son is. He's actually hiding out from her because he's more terrified of her than he is the community. So she doesn't really know what's going on, be it inside the walls or outside really, which is the perfect opportunity to have Negan enter the Commonwealth. So we see him being interrogated by Mercer and I just think this scene is so cool. I remember back to when the others first entered this community and they were petrified of what might happen to them, petrified of who these people are, and Negan just waltz on in there. He's got his legs sprayed out, he's just like chilling back, like cool as a cucumber, and I just thought that was so funny. He says these cheeky lines to Mercer.
That's my job, and yet I was sent here anyway.
And I thought this one was really good too.
We got rules here. Oh, rules. Right.
Like rules. Like as if Negan doesn't know about rules. The sanctuary was built on rules, like Negan was the ruler of that community. I just thought it was great. So as I said before, Pamela doesn't really know what's going on inside the walls. She doesn't know what's going on outside either. But Lance did radio back and he's got some corrupt friends on the inside. And all that they heard through that radio call was the word Daryl Dixon. So Lance's team on the inside go hunting for the kids so that they can sort of use them as leverage for Daryl on the outside. And then we see Carol hiding the kids, and this scene again was fantastic. I mean, look at Carol. What a total badass. What a boss. Look at the size of that knife. Like, she is willing to do anything and everything in order to protect her people, and I just love her. Of course, Lance's friends fail to find the kids and they head off to the school to hopefully track them down there. Then Carol hears another knock at the door, thinking that it's them same people back. But no, lo and behold, it is Jerry, and he comes bringing surprises in the form of Negan. And this was such a good interaction between them both because it really played on like the history when Carol sent Negan to the cabin, and he brought up that line,
Turns out you might have been right. I probably should have stayed in the goddamn cabin.
It just reminded me of the past, and that made me feel like really whole and really happy. So Carol tells Jerry to take the kids to this hideout where they've obviously stashed like food and weapons and things like that to be safe. He takes them there, and Carol and Negan go on their own little mission in order to find Sebastian and use him as their own sort of leverage, very similar to what Lance is trying to do with the kids. So Pamela orders a lockdown, and the people within the community think that it's because of their protesting, but legitimately there is a swarm of walkers around the community or within the perimeter, and there's about to be some more walkers within the community because Lance's friends end up killing like a few of the cleaners that are inside the walls, and I think they're trying to use that as like a distraction. And we see Jerry hiding the kids from these same people, and this scene here is just totally ridiculous. I'm sorry, I love Jerry, I love the kids, but it's just totally ridiculous that this guy could not see them. Like, I mean, he just had to take a step back and he could have seen them like very, very clearly. So that's a little bit far-fetched for me. But anyway, it's just a show, so I'm going to overlook that. And Negan and Carol end up finding Pamela's son, Sebastian. He is hungover and hiding out in this little room. And this brings me to my favorite scene within the entire 11th season, the moment where he says to Negan,
"You know who I am."
Oh, do you know who I am?
I mean, do you know who this guy is, kid? Do you know what this guy is capable of, mate? Just blows my mind. Anyway, super cool scene. And then we move on to Mercer and Rosita taking out a team to kill off some of these walkers that are threatening the community walls. And this is a really good interaction between them because Mercer basically says that he respects Rosita and the new group. So if they do want to get out, he is willing to help them get out because he has a lot of respect for them, which I thought was a really nice thing to say. But my God, this scene here ticked me right off. Like, this guy's literally getting torn apart by zombies and you are trying to pull him to freedom. Let's say that you do manage to pull him free. There is not going to be a body left of him. So I was just like, oh my gosh, let go, Mercer. Let's move on from this. So then we head back to the community where Carol gives Pamela her son back and she slaps him across the face, which is totally satisfying, I gotta admit. And I find that scene quite funny as well because Sebastian's first response to Negan was, "Don't you know who I am?" Like really spoiled and really entitled. And Pamela has that same sort of response with Carol. She says, "Who the hell are you?" And I just thought that those two scenes were quite similar, and it's really funny that their attitude is very aligned. So Sebastian is adamant that he didn't do the things that he's accused of doing, and Carol makes a deal with Pamela to say that if Pamela helps the team on the outside, Daryl and the others, then she will get to the bottom of who really is behind the killings and, who really is to blame for the things that Sebastian is being blamed for. So our team on the outside decide that instead of picking off Lance and his troopers one by one, or what's left of his troopers anyway, one by one, they decide to lure them down into the tunnels. And I really enjoy this because I really enjoyed the tunnel scenes from the previous episodes and series. I really like it. It's dark, it's creepy, and yeah, I just really like that location for some reason. Of course, Hornsby and the team head down into the tunnels and Daryl and the team hold them hostage. And again, another satisfying moment of this episode, seeing Hornsby's face when Daryl just has that knife to his throat. So good. That was a really satisfying moment. But that moment doesn't last for very long because in come the Commonwealth troopers and they swarm Daryl and the team. Of course, we the audience know that Carol has made a deal with Pamela and that these guys are there for a good reason, but Daryl and the team don't know that yet. And then of course we're left with that cliffhanger of how is everybody going to react and what's going to happen at the start of the next episode. So I thought this was a very eventful first episode back. I really love it when they split the teams up into different locations and we get to see these different spots. Like everybody has their own little missions and side plots going on, but they all contribute to like the main conflict or the main resolution that's happening within the story. And speaking of splitting everybody up, I think it's a really smart move to send Negan into the Commonwealth. I think splitting him and Maggie up is really, really smart because obviously we're going to get the spin-off very soon. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of Negan and Maggie. And I think it's a smart idea to, you know, save that story, save that reconnection or that bonding or fighting, whatever it's going to be in that series. Save those moments for the series and let's focus this, you know, last season on really wrapping up the characters that aren't going to have their spin-offs, I guess. And I'm not trying to say that I don't want to see Maggie or Negan in the rest of the series. I'm just saying that splitting them up is a really good idea and, you know, having them interact with different characters rather than the two of them who are going to be in the same series together is a better idea, in my opinion. And the final thing that I loved about this episode, as I mentioned at the start, is all the feels that it gives me, all the callbacks. As I said, at the start, there was that montage and we got to see the flashbacks of those characters that we know and love, but then also like little things like Negan talking to Carol about, you know, when Carol obviously protected him and sent him away to the cabin when Maggie and him were having that massive fight. So, you know, little lines like that, and it takes me back to those memories and those moments within the show. And same with the moments between Maggie and Daryl when she was thanking him for killing Leah. He mentioned Glenn.
Glenn would have wanted me to look after you. You don't have to ever say sorry. Not to me.
And this made me really emotional because I was thinking about the past again. And really, Daryl got Glenn killed. Let's be honest here. So yeah, I just got to thinking about all the guilt that he still holds and, you know, how he's really trying to redeem himself and make up for that, you know, by protecting the kids and protecting Maggie or the group as a whole. He's just trying so hard to make up for his mistakes of the past and really grow as a character. And it just gives me all the feels. But anyway, I could go on and on about the things that I love about the show, but I won't. I will stop there. Oh, and I just wanted to say really quick too that I apologize if my content is going to be a little bit annoying or a little bit repetitive because as I said, it is the final season of The Walking Dead. I'm going to review every week and I'll probably do like some prediction videos and maybe even like live stream my reaction to the very last episode of The Walking Dead. Very last episode. I hate hearing that. I hate saying that. Anyway, so yeah, there's some of my thoughts of what I'm going to do on the channel. But anyway, hopefully it doesn't become too repetitive or too annoying. But if it does, I apologize. Anyway, as I said, if you like this video, give it a like. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, head on over to my Instagram and give me a follow over there as well. Okay, sweet as. Have a good day. Bye.